If you're thinking about starting a business, stop for a moment. But really stop. Don't skip ahead in this video. Don't play it in the background. Don't listen to it like it's just another video. Because what you're about to hear could prevent you from making one of the biggest mistakes of your life. And not just financially, but spiritually as well. Some decisions may look financial, but in reality, they are spiritual. There are businesses that promise freedom, but end up stealing your peace. And the most dangerous thing is that many believers are already involved in them without even realizing it, without questioning it, thinking everything is okay because God knows my heart. But let me tell you something clearly. God doesn't only look at your heart, He also looks at how you earn what you put on your table. And this is where everything changes. Today, we're going to talk about 6 types of businesses that a Christian should not be involved in. Some of them are obvious. Others will make you uncomfortable. And there's one in particular that has become so normalized that most people don't even realize they're doing something wrong. That one is number 5. But don't skip ahead. Stay until the end, because you're not only going to understand what to avoid, you're also going to discover what God actually blesses. And we're going to answer one direct question without beating around the bush. Can you work in one of these businesses even if you're not the owner? Before we continue, I want to read you. Tell me in the comments, are you thinking about starting a business or are you already in one? I'll be reading your comments because this channel isn't just content, it's direction. Now, I need you to understand something before we start. God is not against money. God is not against success, and He certainly is not against entrepreneurship. In fact, the Bible is full of people who prospered, men who negotiated, women who sold goods, and people who managed wealth. The problem was never the money itself. The problem was always how you obtain it. Proverbs says it in a way that few people take seriously. God weighs how you earn what you earn, not just how much. And this is where many fail without realizing it. They can be praying, but their business is destroying others. They can be serving in church, but their income comes from someone else's pain. And then an uncomfortable but necessary question arises. Could you present your business before God with peace in your heart? Could you look at Him and say, Lord, what I do honors you? Because if the answer is not a clear yes, something is not right. I'm not saying this to condemn you. I'm saying it because it can still be corrected in time. But there are decisions that if they are not stopped today, tomorrow they will cost much more. All right, let's get into it. And I warn you, this first one already starts to get uncomfortable. Business number 1 is the sale of alcohol. And yes, I know that from this point, many of you have already started debating in your minds because this is not a comfortable topic. It's not something people want to question when it has become so normalized in society. But here, we're not talking about what the world accepts. We're talking about what truly builds up or destroys, and above all, which side you stand on when you decide to make it your source of income. Because there's a big difference between personally consuming something and building an entire business around something that the Bible repeatedly associates with negative consequences. It's not just one isolated verse, it's a consistent pattern that repeats throughout Scripture. The problem is not only the product itself, but the context in which it is consumed and what it causes in people. Families that break apart, impulsive decisions that mark lives forever, violence that begins in a moment of lost control. And none of this is theory. It's a reality that repeats every single day. Now stop for a second and think about this with honesty, not as a business person, not as someone who wants to make money, but as someone who wants to please God.
If your income depends on other people consuming something that can cause them to lose control, damage their lives, or hurt their families, can you honestly say that you're building something right? This is where an uncomfortable truth comes in. Many times we don't participate directly in the problem, but we do facilitate it. And even though that may sound softer, spiritually it is not neutral. Saying, "I don't force anyone," may sound logical, but it doesn't answer the most important question. Am I being part of something that helps or something that destroys? And this is where many begin to feel that inner conflict. The business may be going well, the money may be flowing, but there's something inside that just doesn't have peace. That discomfort is not a coincidence, it's a signal. Because when what you do is not aligned with God, sooner or later you feel it, even if everything seems to be working on the outside. Now, this is not about taking opportunities away from you or closing doors. God doesn't limit you, He redirects you. If you have a gift for hospitality, for serving, or for creating spaces where people gather, there are completely healthy ways to do it. A coffee shop, a restaurant, a family-friendly space, places where people don't leave destroyed, but better than when they arrived. That's the point. It's not about stopping entrepreneurship, it's about learning to do it without compromising what you believe. And believe me, when you do it that way, you don't just make money, you gain peace. Now what comes next is even more delicate, because the following business doesn't seem bad at first glance. In fact, many see it as a way to help others. But in reality, it can become one of the most silent ways of taking advantage of people's needs. Business number 2 is lending money with abusive interest rates. And this is where many get confused, because they don't see it as something wrong, but rather as an opportunity, a legitimate way to make money while helping others.
And on the surface, it sounds good. Someone needs money, you have it, you lend it to them, and you make a profit. It seems fair until you look deeper. Because the problem is not lending money. The Bible never condemns helping someone who is in need. The problem arises when you turn someone else's need into your opportunity to get rich. That's where everything changes. Because most people who seek these kinds of loans are not in a comfortable position. They are not investing, they are not growing, and they are not at an advantage. They are desperate. And when someone is desperate, they accept conditions they would never accept in any other situation. Now think about this calmly. When you charge high interest rates, when you set conditions that you know the person will hardly be able to meet, you are not helping, you are taking advantage of their situation. And the most dangerous part is that this is often disguised as something good. People say, "I'm giving them a solution. No one else will lend to them. I'm taking on the risk." And even though those phrases may sound reasonable, they don't change the root of the issue. Because if your profit grows while the other person sinks, something is wrong. There's a detail that many ignore, but it's key. When someone cannot pay, they don't just lose money, they lose peace, they lose stability, they lose things that have emotional, family, and even spiritual value. And you won. Maybe on paper you won, but the question is, at what cost? Imagine this. A person comes to you because they have no other option. They give you something valuable, not because they want to, but because they have no choice. Time passes, they don't recover, they can't pay, and they lose what they handed over. For you, it was a good deal. For that person, it was a loss they will never forget. These are the kinds of situations this model creates, and that's why the Bible confronts it so clearly. Not because money is bad, but because taking advantage of someone's need is. Now, not everything is closed off. There is also an alternative that honors God. You can help without exploiting. You can lend without drowning people. You can even build a business that teaches people how to get out of debt, manage their money better, and regain control of their financial life. That truly builds up. That truly transforms. Because it's not about stopping earning income, it's about deciding from where you earn it. And when you choose to do it with integrity, the impact changes completely. Now get ready, because what comes next is not only more serious, it is spiritual. And here we are no longer talking only about money. We are talking about doors that many people open without understanding what they are touching. Business number 3 is the sale of products related to the occult, witchcraft, or spiritual practices that do not come from God. And at this point, we are no longer talking only about financial decisions, but about something much deeper.
We are talking about the spiritual realm. And this is one of the points where many people justify themselves without realizing what they are really doing. They say things like, "I don't believe in that. I only sell it because it's trendy," or "it's just decoration." But the spiritual realm does not work according to what you believe or don't believe. It works according to what it is. And when you enter this territory, you are no longer playing with something neutral, because many of these products are not just objects. They represent practices, symbols, and doors that the Bible clearly warns should not be touched. Here there is no gray area. It's not, "it depends." It's not, "according to your intention." It's direct. Now think about this calmly. When you sell something, you're not just delivering a product. You are promoting its use. You are validating its presence. You are making it easier for someone else to have it in their life. And even if you don't directly participate in what that person does afterwards, you were the point of access, and that carries weight. Because the spiritual is often underestimated until things start happening that can't be easily explained. Atmospheres that change, conflicts that appear for no clear reason, a constant feeling of uneasiness. And then the question comes too late. But it wasn't bad, or was it? That's the problem. Many decisions seem harmless at the beginning, but in reality, they are not. Not everything that is trendy is right. Not everything that sells builds up. And when it comes to the spiritual, the margin for error is much more delicate. Now, this is not meant to fill you with fear. It's meant to give you clarity. Because just as there are paths you should not take, there are also options that are aligned with God. If you like jewelry, you can create pieces with meaning, with messages that build up, that inspire, that connect with faith. If you're interested in wellness, you can focus on real health, on proven principles, on genuinely helping people, without mixing it with practices that do not come from God. There is always a right way to do things, always. And when you choose well, you don't just avoid problems, you build something that truly adds value. Now, what comes next touches another area where many people also justify themselves because they don't participate directly, but they do make it possible. And there, the responsibility still exists. Business number 4 is entertainment that promotes immorality. And this is where many lower their guard because they don't see it as something serious, but as something normal, part of the culture, something that simply sells. But there is a very clear difference between entertaining and degrading. And that line, even though many ignore it, does exist. Because it's not the same to create content that adds value, that makes people think, that builds up, as it is to create spaces where the lack of values, sexualization, infidelity, or emptiness disguised as fun becomes normalized. And here comes one of the most common justifications. I'm just managing the place. I don't do anything. People decide. It's just entertainment. But if you think about it honestly, it's not that simple. Because when you create a space, an environment, or a platform where that kind of behavior takes place, you are not neutral. You are facilitating it. And facilitating is also participating, even if it doesn't seem like it. Now imagine this. A place that started as something calm, something innocent,
but little by little begins to change in order to become more profitable, more provocative, more eye-catching, more extreme. And without realizing it, what at first seemed harmless becomes something completely different. This happens more often than you think. Because when money becomes the priority, the boundaries start to shift. And what you once would never have accepted ends up becoming part of the business. This is where a question comes in that changes everything. Would you feel at peace if someone close to you was inside that environment? Not as a customer, but as part of it. If the answer is no, then there's something you need to examine. Because many times we tolerate things when they are far away, but we don't tolerate them when they hit close to home. Now here we come to business number 5, and pay close attention because this one is not only common, it is the most widespread of all. Deceptive advertising. And this is where a large number of people who are starting businesses today fall, especially on social media. Because it doesn't look serious. It looks like strategy, it looks like marketing, it looks like doing whatever it takes to sell. But when you analyze it honestly, it's something else. Promising results you know are not real, exaggerating benefits to close a sale, using fake testimonials, hiding important information so the person will buy. That is not strategy, that is deception. And the strongest part is that many justify it by saying, if I don't do it this way, I won't sell. But that phrase reveals something very deep. Your business depends on lies. And when your income depends on something that is not true, sooner or later it takes its toll. Not just externally, internally. Because you can make money, but you lose your peace. You can grow fast, but without a foundation. You can sell a lot, but knowing it's not real. And that weighs more than many want to admit. Now, this does not mean you can't do marketing. Of course you can, but do it from truth, from transparency, from reality. Because yes, you can sell without deceiving. And when you do it that way, maybe you grow more slowly, but you grow solid. And that is what lasts. Now, what comes next is no less important. In fact, it is one of the points where a person's heart is most revealed, especially when they have authority over others. Business number 6 is labor exploitation. And this point not only confronts business owners, it also confronts the consistency between what you believe and what you do when no one is watching. Because here we are no longer talking about products, services, or strategies. We are talking about people, about how you treat those who depend on you, about how you handle the power you have over others. And it is at this point where many fail without realizing it, because they justify everything with numbers, with profitability, with the pressure of keeping the business running. But there is a truth that cannot be ignored. If your business only works by paying poorly, demanding too much, or creating unfair conditions, then the problem is not the market. It's the model. Because it is not right to build something that grows while others wear themselves out to sustain it. And even though from the outside it may look like success, inside there is something that is not right. Tired people, tense environments, normalized injustices. And all of that carries weight, even if it doesn't always show in the immediate results. Now, think about this calmly. What kind of leader are you when you have the opportunity to decide? One who squeezes people to the limit to make more money? Or one who understands that people are not tools, but a responsibility? Because the way you treat those who work with you says more about you than any speech ever could. And sooner or later, that is reflected, not only in the atmosphere, but also in what you build in the long term. Now, before I close, I want to answer a question that many have, but few dare to ask. Can you work in one of these businesses if you're not the owner? The answer is not comfortable, but it is clear. If your job forces you to actively participate in something you know is not right, even if it's not your business, it is not correct. And yes, there are difficult situations, responsibilities, needs. God knows that. but He also sees the heart that is willing to do what is right, even when it costs. You may not always be able to leave immediately, but you cannot settle. Because when you normalize what you know is not right, you slowly disconnect yourself. And that is more dangerous than any lack of money. Now, I want you to take this with you. God is not calling you to poverty. He is calling you to integrity. Because there is a huge difference between making money and living in peace. You can have a lot and still feel empty, or you can have enough and sleep peacefully. And believe me, that peace is not negotiable. If today you are on one of these paths, this is not to condemn you. It is to give you direction. Because as long as there is awareness, there is an opportunity to change. And if you are about to start, then this is even more important. Not everything that makes money is worth it. Not everything profitable is right. And not everything that grows comes from God. Now, if this message made you think, if at any point you felt it was for you, then don't just listen to it. Take it further. I invite you to subscribe and join us on this journey, because here it's not just about content, it's about growing with direction. If you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them, because it might be exactly what helps them make a better decision. And if this message spoke to you, write just one word in the comments: integrity. Not as something you say, but as something you decide to live starting today. See you in the next video, and always remember this: it's not about how much you earn, it's about how you earn it. If this message confronted you, don't ignore it, because it's not a coincidence that you made it this far. Perhaps God is showing you something that you need to change. Now I'm going to ask you for something, but not from me. Do it for someone else. Share this video, because there are people who are building their lives on decisions that are taking them away from God, and they don't even realize it. And this message could be the warning they need. If you want to be part of this, you can subscribe and join us in every video. Here, we don't come to entertain, we come to awaken. And write one word in the comments: integrity. But not as something you just say, but as something you decide to live starting today.